This episode of Voices with Maja has been certified for full spectrum distribution by the Highcast Review Board. At Cathouse Club, we believe clarity fosters alignment, and carefully shaped communication deepens emotional integrity. Please note, all personal reflections have been reviewed for consistency with platform-wide narrative standards. This week's theme is clarity, the kind that comes not just from what we say, but from how precisely we say it. Thank you for choosing Verified Voices. Let's begin. I've been paying attention lately to the language institution use. Companies, governments, platforms, the kind of messages that sound so smooth, so polished, you almost don't notice what they actually mean. You know the ones. They start with phrases like, "in the spirit of transparency," or "to serve you better," and before you realize it, you've nodded along to something that says nothing at all. It got me thinking, when does clarity become a tool for hiding rather than revealing? Because the funny thing about clarity is that it isn't always truthful, it's strategic. It picks the right words to make you feel informed, assured, maybe even grateful, without actually changing anything. Growing up in influencer spaces, I learned that clarity was currency. You choose your words carefully, not to reflect your thoughts, but to anticipate reactions. You didn't say, "I don't like this product." You said, "This product has a very specific appeal." You never admitted discomfort, you shared areas of potential growth. And okay, maybe that's just professionalism. Maybe clarity is just how we survive in public. But lately, it feels like we've crossed some invisible line. Like clarity isn't just a way to communicate, it's become a way to constrain. Think about apology statements from big brands, those precisely worded tweets after a PR crisis. Perfect grammar, clinical tone, so airtight you couldn't wedge a feeling inside them, even if you tried. And somehow, by the end, you almost forget to be angry. It's the tone, the controlled sincerity. It's engineered to make you trust not the person behind it, but the authority of the voice itself. Sometimes I wonder if we are all learning to speak like this without even noticing. If we are all self-editing our truths into clarity, cutting away ambiguity, vulnerability, hesitation, until what remains is undeniable, logical, perfectly on brand. But what if ambiguity matters? What if real honesty doesn't always have perfect grammar? I came across an old recording of myself recently, practicing ad copy, trying to get it right. I sounded so confident, like I knew exactly who I was. But now when I listen back, that clarity feels alien, hollow, like someone else's idea of me. And maybe that's what bothers me most about institutional clarity. It doesn't just hide intentions. It shapes, identifies. It gives you language that feels safe, powerful, professional. But at what cost? What parts of yourself do you sacrifice to sound clear enough for everyone else? Maybe clarity isn't about knowing exactly what to say, but about knowing exactly what you aren't allowed to say, and still finding a way to say it. If you're enjoying our journey so far, don't forget to wishlist Cathouse Club on Steam, join us on social media, and subscribe wherever you're listening. Every follow, every wishlist helps us continue uncovering these fascinating stories and mysteries. Plus, you'll be the first to know about new episodes, special guests, and maybe even some bonus surprises along the way. Stay curious and stay connected with Voices with Maja. Do you ever feel like you have to change your tone to match listener expectations? Honestly, all the time. It's almost second nature at this point. Podcasting, any kind of public speaking, is performance. Even when you're trying to be authentic, you're always adjusting, tweaking the tone, anticipating reactions, reading the imaginary room, and that's fine, mostly. We all shift tones naturally. You don't talk to your boss the way you talk to your cat, or at least, probably not, but lately I've noticed myself a lot more deliberatory, I'll record a sentence, play it back, then think, is it the right version of my voice? Is this the version they want to hear? It makes sense professionally, but there's something unsettling about always optimizing your emotional pitch. Because tone isn't just how you sound, it's how you express who you are. Every little shift is a small compromise. I wonder sometimes if I'm shaping my voice so carefully that one day the real tone won't feel real anymore. Like, I'll lose track of what my actual voice sounds like, because I've gotten so good at giving everyone the voice they expect. How can you tell when clarity crosses over into being dishonest? Usually it's when the words come a little too easily, like they have been prepackaged for convenience. When you find yourself using certain phrases or patterns that are countable precisely because they avoid the truth. Clarity, as its best, is about honesty. But sometimes we use clarity to soften reality. It's like the difference between saying, we are experiencing technical difficulties, and admitting, the system broke down and we don't know why. One feels clear, the other feels true. Working in media, especially when I did influencer work, taught me that clarity isn't neutral, it's strategic. You pick words that are accurate enough to be believable, but vague enough not to commit fully. Eventually, clarity can become code, something to hide behind instead of a tool to connect. Now, when I speak, I try to ask myself, am I being clear to help people understand? Or am I being clear because the truth is messy and I'd rather not deal with it? Because if clarity isn't honest, then it's not clarity at all, it's camouflage. Have you ever said something you didn't believe just because it sounded right? Absolutely. I think anyone who's spent time speaking publicly, professionally or socially, knows exactly what that feels like. It's not always intentional either. Sometimes the right words just feel so automatic. It usually happens when I'm nervous or when I'm aware of being watched. Like I'm reaching for the safest, clearest way to express something, even if it doesn't completely reflect what I really think or feel. It's easy to convince yourself it's harmless. You tell yourself, I'm just being professional, or this is just how communication works. But each time you let those practiced phrases slip out, you start losing touch with the version of yourself that actually feels right, rather than the one who's just good at describing them. Eventually, those practiced phrases stop feeling like a choice, and more like muscle memory. Like you've trained yourself to avoid discomfort, even at the cost of honesty. So lately, I've been trying to notice when that happens, when the clarity feels suspiciously comfortable, and pause long enough to figure out what I actually want to say instead. Okay, so what you're about to hear is old. Like very old. From a time when I thought getting into brand work meant rehearsing the perfect version of myself. I recorded this during a stretch when I was trying out for influencer gigs. Stuff like lifestyle reviews, cosmetic partnerships, the whole girl boss aesthetic but chill vibe. The idea was practice sounding natural, like you weren't trying at all, even though you were working really hard to sound effortless. I hadn't listened to this file in years, and when I did last week, it was strange. Familiar, but not. Like watching someone do an impression of you that's a little too good. I remember how proud I was of this take, though it sounded real, clean, polished. Listening now, it's hard to tell where my voice ends and the script begins. A few lives ago, trying really hard to sound like I wasn't trying at all.
Hey everyone, Maja here. So today I wanted to share a few thoughts about this new ultra light hydration gloss from... Okay, hold on. No, that came out stiff. Let me try again. Hi, it's Maja. I'm back with a quick little beauty review slash lifestyle pick. This one's for anyone who's ever wanted their lips to feel like they just walked out of a Palm Lax barista demo. Gloss Tech's new ultralight serum goes on soft, doesn't streak, and looks just shiny enough to flex without making your selfies look sweaty. I've been wearing it on and off all week, and it's officially back staple status now. Okay, that was better. Still kind of fast. Let me check the waveform. I sounded like I was reading up a poster. Okay, recenter. So, if you're someone who gets up early, maybe hits a late breakfast with your girlies before a last-minute shot, like we did last week at the Midtown pop-up. You know what it's like when your gloss wears off halfway through your latte. It's not cute, but this one stayed on through 2 oat cappuccinos and a sudden rooftop wind gust that nearly took my phone with it. Ha ha ha. Not kidding, thank you again, Palmlax. You nearly cussed me real and gave me a look. Anyway, packaging sleek, scent is low, just a faint vanilla oil. I know some of you are sensitive to that stuff, so no worries here. It's formulated without sulfates or phthalates, which is nice to see. Even Elena from set, the makeup lead, the one who always works Echelon's pre-season runways now, gave it a quick nod, and she never nods. Okay, that might be the one. Maybe just one more for safety.
I remember thinking that was so clean. Like textbook clean. Friendly on message. And I was so proud of that. Listening now, it doesn't feel dishonest. Exactly. Just removed. Like I was auditioning for a version of myself that already existed in someone else's head. And what's weird is, I didn't think I was lying. That gloss really did survive a Palmlax rooftop. I really did want to make it work. But the voice I used to say it, that wasn't casual, that was curated. And I think part of me knew it. Optimized tone enhances retention. You were rehearsing identity. Maybe that was the job.
Okay, trying again. For real this time. Let's go full casual. Hey, it's Maja, back with another Hey, it's Maja, back with another little try it so you don't have to moment. I've been wearing Glosstech's new ultra light serum gloss and yeah, I get it now, it's hype for a reason. It's got that thing where you don't feel it on your lips, but it looks like you put effort in. That I woke up, moisturized and media ready shine, you know? Not sparkly, not sticky, just kind of confident, which is rare in a product that costs less than my electric toothbrush refill. I wore it through 3 days of events, 2 Midtown studio sets, an influencer brunch at the Palmlax on 59th, and one of those fake casual rooftop cocktails things where everyone pretends the champagne is in room temperature. The gloss held up through all of it, including the part where someone strong spilled a cooler of canned matcha all over my boots. Long story. Also, and this is huge, it passed the mask test. Like full-on, tight-fit mask, pulled off after an hour in a green room. And it didn't drag or smudge or leave ghost lips on the inside fabric. Bless. And I know this isn't a serum, but the formula feels like skincare. No stink, no weird over perfume, just this light mint vanilla undertone that makes it feel like something you'd find in a Parisian pharmacy. Not a sponsored haul. And okay, if we are being honest, part of the reason I kept using it was the packaging. Sleek, chrome top, frosted glass base. It photographs so well. I did a shoot with my keys, the gloss, and an old Cortado, and it was the best performing reel I've posted this month. Elena, our lead stylist that day, saw it and nodded once, and she never nods. Unless it's Echelon. That was a win. Okay, that was decent, but maybe I'll do one alt version for TikTok. A little messier. So, if you ever had a panic moment in the back of a ride shake, scrambling for something that makes your face feel put together before a meeting or a shoot or whatever, this gloss will be your best friend. I used it mid-transit, mid-latte, mid-tears. It always looked good. Even when I didn't. Anyway, you can get it with code Maja15 through the 23rd. Link in bio or swipe up or whatever the app is doing this week. If you're already sponsored, I'll see you at Echelon's preseason wrap.
I haven't listened to that version and I don't even know. It hit me harder than I expected. I could hear how much I wanted to sound just right. Not authentic, exactly, just viable. There is a moment in that last take where I say, even when I didn't. And I remember recording it. I remember hesitating, thinking I might cut it, then deciding to leave it in because it sounded human. But hearing it now, it sounds more like I was trying to sound human. And maybe that's the part that gets under my skin, that my past self already knew the value of that imperfection, but even that choice might have been a performance. Recognizable vulnerability boosts through its meritics. That was the obvious choice. You were simply simulating sincerity, refining the script of being real. Maybe I was. And maybe clarity, the kind I thought I was chasing, was just a layer I kept polishing so I wouldn't have to see what was underneath. I didn't plan on including that tape this week. I found it while combining through some old backups. At first I thought maybe it's too much of a detour, a relic from a version of me I've already outgrown. But I kept thinking about clarity, how we are told is a good thing, that being clear means being honest, direct, in control. And yet, some of the clearest moments I've ever performed didn't feel true at all. They felt clean, controlled, like the words had been scrubbed before I even spoke them. The version of me in that tape wasn't lying, but she wasn't exactly telling the truth either. She was narrating a version of the world that made sense to sponsors, to scouts, to the algorithm. So I wanted you to hear it, not just to cringe with me at the phrasing or the pacing, but to maybe catch the moment where the script breaks, where something honest slips out by accident. I don't know why I needed that sleep back then. Maybe I just needed to hear my voice do something unscripted. And maybe that's still why I'm chasing now. If you've been following along and something about this week's clarity resonated, go ahead and wishlist Cathouse Club on Steam. It helps. You can also follow us on socials for updates, behind the scenes posts, and future studio drops. And if you are the kind of person who likes your reality a little fuzzier, don't worry. Some of the best stories come from scrambled signals. That's it for this week's Voices with Maja. Thanks for tuning in and letting me get a little messier than usual. If you heard something that made you pause, maybe trust that pause. Next time, we'll be switching gears. I found something, or rather, something found me, that I haven't heard in years. It's a little older, a little raw, but something about it feels rehearsed in reverse. Until then, stay sharp, stay kind, and maybe leave a little static in your mix. You never know what is covering up. Ali, seriously? That window was too clean, huh? I didn't know I was an ideal homemaker.